Hello to my fellow KW stakeholders. Of course, it's Aaron Kaufman, Chief Stakeholder Evangelist out of Atlanta, Georgia, bringing you another episode of a My 401 KW interview series where we dive deep with some of our top profit share earners and stakeholder thinking associates. Today, I get to speak to one of my favorite people at KW. I go way, way back with Mr. Joey Haley out of Clarksville, Tennessee. How you doing, brother?
Hey, bud, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Now, we've had a lot of conversations over the years about
Yeah.
profit share. I think I actually coached you for a little period of time there on some
Mhm.
internet recruiting. But look, today's all about you, my man. And I know you have been on quite a journey with Keller Williams. So I want to, before we get into all the profit share you've earned and
Sure.
where things are going, let's take us back
Yep.
before you joined KW, Joey, and let's talk about who you were, how you ended up getting into real estate, how you ended up joining KW, who you chose as your sponsor, and then we'll just kind of go from there, man. All right?
That sounds good. That sounds great.
Yeah, man.
Hey, buddy, it's always good to be with you. You know how I am when I see you. You
Yes,
make
sir.
me light up. So
Yes, sir. Same
I've been
here.
looking at this all day. I got in real estate in 1995 by accident. I was at lunch one day, and my Sunday school teacher from 8 years old,
Mm.
she wanted to have lunch with me. And so we were sitting down talking and stuff. And then she asked me the question. She said, when are you going to get into real estate? And I said, well, Miss Pat, that's a woman's sport. For you guys, that I can compete with that. And she just laughed at me. She said, honey, come on, let me help you out here. So she gave me 5 guys that were doing really good. And
Yeah.
and back then, Clarksville was, maybe 50,000 people complete totally.
What was your
You know,
career at that time, Joey? What were you doing at that
I
time?
was a new car sales manager that's at the Nissan dealership
Yeah.
in Clarksville.
Okay. Gotcha.
I've been in the car business 13 years. So we got to talking, and she shared with me, what I've been sharing for 28 years. She said, let me show you something. She took a napkin, she drew a circle, and she said, let's just act like, just 100 people. I said, okay. And then she put 3 lines underneath it. And I said, what's those 3 lines for? She said, different levels of relationships you have with these people. I said, okay. She said, now let me take my sphere and these 5 men, and let's see how much they encompass your 100 people. Well, it looked like a daisy, with,
Yeah.
I said, see, Miss Pat, I'm telling you. She said, there's no way I can compete. And then she said, you don't listen very well, do you? I said, well, probably not. What did I miss? She said, in that circle are people that know you. You got a relationship with them.
Yeah.
And she went on to show me how that she thought 70% of the people would do business with me. That's over some because of the relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm from a product sales position, and thinking about that was different. That's what got me into real estate, because when I got into the business, it was like putting on a glove.
Yeah.
It just made sense. And then fast forward about 6 years later, I was a principal broker for it was for the largest real estate company, I guess, in the Mid-South.
Yeah.
Had over a ton of people. And I had a cousin that's an orthopedic surgeon. He lived in Atlanta. His wife started calling me, and she was an agent at Sandy Springs.
Mm.
And she was in, I think, Kay Evans's 3rd level.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
But back then, everybody knew everybody. Everybody's really close.
Well, and Joey, Sandy Springs is the headquarters of the Rawls Group, which
Yes,
is the
right.
markets, the ownership group that I joined as a KW associate. And obviously, Sandy Springs is one of our most profitable market centers in the entire company, always has been. So
Yes.
Interesting to hear that you had that connection. So she reached out to you. Yeah.
She worked me for 2 years.
Yeah.
I was very committed to the company. The company that I was with was a traditional company, but it was not a traditional real estate company.
Right.
They were a company store. They owned everything, and
Yeah.
they had all these services. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and they were good people, right? That were doing the best they could to help their agents, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They were great people. And then she started sending me this information, and I kept reading, and I'm thinking, man, this is kind of fits my DNA, but we didn't have an office here, and nobody's ever heard of Keller Williams. It was rude. Nobody. And I remember I went to a meeting, and I don't remember the time about it exactly, but I met Kay Evans in Brentwood, Tennessee, they had a little function. That's when I met Bill Haggard for the first time.
Yeah, those are great.
Bill had just joined the company during that time, and over the time, one thing led to another, and then we put a little core group together and went to like a Sandy Springs office basically to get started. But it took me 2 years to come to Keller. It took me a while.
So Joey, what we're talking about, like what, I mean, obviously there were, you connected with, probably some of our training philosophies, right? Some of our overall mindset, but what was it for you that really was like, look, I'm ready to move away from this company that I'm a broker at, where I have tons of local relationships with that could lead to potentially some, negative, relationships or issues that stem out of going to another company. What was it in that moment that, just said, hey, look, this is the future of real estate. This is the best opportunity for me and my family. And, this will allow me to help more people in Clarksville. What was it like specifically? And how did profit share even play into your perception of KW? Did you understand it? Did you really get it as a value proposition moving forward for you?
Well, you got to understand, when I heard the package of what we offer, it started around culture, and that got my attention. I'm like, wow, who would put that out there? To me, you're putting a bullseye on your back if you don't get it done.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
You know what I mean? And
well, I love that you say that, Joey, because it's look, we have great culture at KW, but not everybody is participating at it, in it in a high level, and people need to remember that we put our culture on a pedestal, right? We put it on a mountaintop, right? So
that's
if you
who we are.
Deliver on that.
Yeah,
I think it's even worse than if you never even mentioned it in the first place, right?
It could be. One of the things that really spoke to me is that, of course, going back to meeting my Sunday school teacher, talking about relationships. Well, that was the culture explanation of the real estate business I was in, because I knew as an individual I had a lot of following, a lot of people trusted me. But seeing that in a company was different, because everything was so, dog eat dog. It's like you're on your own. You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And okay, we have culture. They're sharing. Wow, that's big. Education in the office. Yeah. You got my attention.
And what year was this, Joey? This was back in 2000 or is it two? Right, which is not that long ago, right? We're talking 21 years ago. And Joey, people were saying Keller who just 21 years ago.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
We do. And then when I heard about profit share, but first I heard about the cap. I'm thinking, what's that?
Yeah.
I mean, that was everything they did was revolutionary to us.
Absolutely.
At that time, they were. I mean, and so it was just not one thing. It was just the picture of a family competing at a high level, but not competing against each other. Exactly. To me, was a great concept.
Well, and I would imagine someone like Kay Evans and Bob Kalinsky and Bill Haggard, right? The Who, right, played a huge role in that as well, because, you can talk KW models all day long, but there's a reason the Southeast region's been number one in every category for 17, 18 years, right?
Well, when you take a Bob Kalinsky and a Kay Evans, you're going to to Yeah. And they have a story that's not normal. Exactly. It's not traditional.
Absolutely.
And of course, and they're very, very, very magnetic people, very charismatic.
Yeah.
But they're real. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. I mean, they brought me in, and that was a cool thing.
Yeah. So, and I always tell people, Joey, if I didn't have a high level experience at Keller Williams first as an agent, I never would have been purposeful about growing my profit share. So I owe everything to Bob and Kay and Sean Rawls, right? Because that region, that ownership group, is the highest level experience at KW. And it's not a coincidence I come out of one of those offices, in that region. No. But all right, so are you saying that you incubated out of Sandy Springs, or did you?
Actually, it was kind of funny. I did something I didn't know I know about it now as a team leader, but I can send somebody to the company and still be their sponsor
Yeah.
as long as within the first 90 days. And
Yeah.
so we got everything set up, and I found the OP and the team leader and some core people.
Yeah.
But I'm still committed to this other company.
Yeah.
But we were a small company in this area.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to the owner back and forth, and I wanted to leave, but then I liked the security, the other one.
Yeah. Well, you had a salary, right?
Salary bonus, and I could sell too.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
Well, that's a great point there, Joey, because traditional companies, the brokers are competing with the agents for business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though you're able to sell,
yes.
Typically at KW, we don't want our leadership competing with our agents for business, right? So that you realize that you were going to have to kind of maybe give up if you got into leadership. Potentially, you'd have to give up selling, right?
Yeah. Well, my wife told me, she said, "It's time you get up here and you need to go. That's an opportunity you need to take."
That's awesome.
And so when I talked to the guy about the owner of the company about it, he agreed. He said, "I don't blame you."
That's great.
And so when I went over, I never forget, Kay called me and she said, the OP wants you to be their sponsor because you gave him this gift.
Yeah.
Don't blow this, son. Don't blow it.
Yeah.
So I came back, and then it was cool. And we got to it took us about 18 months to 2 years to actually become the number one office.
Wow.
In this area.
That's amazing. And
we still hold that position today. We've never relinquished it.
All right. So a couple of questions, Joey. First of all, did you choose that agent in Sandy Springs as your sponsor?
Yes, I did.
Who is that person?
Her name is Jennifer Mosley.
Okay, I know that name. Yeah.
And I'm the only person she's ever sponsored.
I love that you say that. I love you because my sponsors only sponsor one person too, right? And I think that that's a real important message here, Joey. First of all, you can never predict who somebody might become and who they might attract to KW. I mean, look, let's get real. I was a very mediocre agent from Coldwell Banker. Okay. And look at me now, man. Right. And so this company.
You've never been mediocre.
Oh,
you've found the right place.
You don't even know, dude. You don't even know. I owe it all to KW. Before KW, before before I got purposeful about profit share, I was a, entrepreneur with potential, right? And that's not a great place to be when you're in your early 30s. But so first of all, you picked her as your sponsor, right? The message for everybody listening is you can never predict who somebody might become and who they might attract to KW. That's a huge aha. And then, before you even joined KW officially, you had the OP of this market center in your downline, essentially, or right about the time you came in. And who was that OP?
It was Morris Vaughn, and actually, we stacked the cap because his wife was an agent.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
So I sponsored her.
Nice.
So I got 50% of all that zero money. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It was okay. I didn't care.
Well, no. And Joey, I want to talk about that for a second. There's two important lessons we all should know here at KW. One, we're the number one real estate company for husband and wife teams for multiple reasons. But for the two top reasons, you share a cap and you get to stack your profit share. Okay. So if you're a husband and wife team listening, you should be running your business through the spouse that is under the other person so that you're earning profit share off of your own business. And you should be stacking your profit share, meaning everybody you sponsor goes under the spouse that is under the other person. And look, there's nothing wrong, Joey, with saying, look, we run our business through so-and-so. Would you, if we're lucky enough to be your sponsor, we'd be honored if you choose this person as your sponsor, right? So that's something that I think husband and wife teams need to know. The other thing that you make me think about, Joey, is that sometimes I hear people saying, oh my God, somebody in my downline, they put their spouse above them and I'm not earning as much profit share off of them, right? Well, first of all, profit share is not about you, okay? It's about them, first of all. Second of all, my guess is a husband and wife team that is stacked and is purposeful about growing their profit share, they're going to be at KW longer. They're probably going to be more excited about attracting people to KW. And my guess is you're going to make a lot more money off of them in profit share if you would think more abundantly instead of worrying about how they are stacking their profit share. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I think people, they've got the wrong focus. They focus on that on that first level, and
Yeah.
they don't think about.
Exactly.
This is where I feel like people just
Right.
don't really get it. Is that
Right.
you have a company here where the investors know up front that there's a possibility they can give away up to 48% of their profit every month.
Yeah.
Now, all you got to do is influence somebody to come in to meet. Team leader does their job,
Yep.
and shit does their job. Our job is to get them into production,
Exactly.
which is to build you
Yeah.
a passive income. But the company's already committed to it.
Exactly.
And if you look at the volume of that and the detail, the intricacies of that, of what our company does, it's amazing.
Well, and look, it's abundance versus scarcity, right? There's a
Exactly.
crazy idea, Joey. If you teach agents how to build their own real estate businesses, okay,
Yeah.
and you don't compete with them, okay, and you share your profits with them, and you empower them to make decisions, and you hopefully create a culture where agents understand that they're actually all vested in each other's success. You take over the entire industry without really having to spend any money marketing your company. And I think for people like you and me that have been in the business for over 20 years, who have been at other companies, like we can really appreciate the simplicity of the model when it is followed, right? It's about being abundant. It's about willing to give up some of your ownership stake so that your agents are vested in the success of your company. And if they feel like they are, they're going to buy into culture more. And my guess is they're going to probably help you grow it, right?
Well, yeah, I know for me, when I first heard about profit share, I was early 40s, not much retirement at all. And I thought, wow, this company wants me to help them grow because I've grown other companies.
Yeah.
They got nothing for it except a pat on the back. And,
exactly.
And then when I get into that, it is simple, but trying to duplicate that is not simple.
Exactly.
If you think about all the people, all of the mindsets that we have, that we're always working together, that's our culture. That's where, I tell people coming over from another company the other day that you can get on the Connect, and I saw somebody about open houses. I said, let's just give them a call.
Yeah.
Let's just reach out to them.
I love it.
They're not going to talk. I said, oh yeah, they're going to talk to you. And sure enough, it was boom, boom, boom. Here we go. And they signed right there because they said, that's real. I said,
yeah,
it's really strange when you get a bunch of 100% commission salespeople acting like a team. It's powerful.
Well, and Joey, that's it, man. Right. Like, but the problem that we face as a company, and I want you to kind of, talk. I mean, look, I love that exercise you went through. Obviously, you're taking a risk there if they don't pick up the phone or if they don't,
I don't care.
I know you're not hanging it all on that, but it's a great live exercise.
I was lucky.
Yeah, no, you were lucky. But I mean, I think we both can agree, because we've talked a lot about this over the years, is that, look, the model in theory, right, when people buy into it, you can't compete with us for the agents that value these kind of things. But, we're the best kept secret, Joey,
we are
in our own company. And, I always find myself saying this in this interview, but, we're on the third generation of Keller Williams, man. Yeah. And, there are a lot of people in your office there and that don't know what it's like to be the emerging company, right? That they don't know what it's like to, be in a room with, 4,000 people at family reunion and be fending off the industry sort of coming after you. So I just want to make sure that people understand that culture only works if we are participating in it. And if we don't do a better job talking about why our culture is different and how it's tethered to profit share and how everything is tied to being a stakeholder, I don't worry, but my focus is always going to be, I'm trying to protect this legacy, Joey, because this ain't about our next check, man. This is about 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You got kids, right? I don't know if you have grandkids yet or no.
Well, I have to say this. At 3:45 this morning,
wow,
my number 9 grandchild came into the world.
Wow, so congratulations.
I got my 5th little grandson coming in. His name is Jersey Dean Haley.
I love it. Yeah.
So we have a good day already.
So you got your why is pretty crystallized, huh? When it comes to building your profit share, right? I mean,
I'm leaving a legacy for my kids.
Yeah.
And my whole career, I sold a lot of real estate, built a big team, and was great there.
Yeah.
But my focus has always been this. It's just something that's been a passion of mine because it allows me to reconnect with people on
Yeah.
a personal level
Yeah.
and help them grow their business, which is hard to overcome once you build relationships. It's
Exactly.
just there.
Exactly. So let's go back, Joey. So you have the opportunity to bring KW to Clarksville, right? But you did not join KW as a team leader, right? You came here as a top agent, right? You were lucky enough or smart enough to start building your profit share before you even, joined KW. But it took a little time for Clarksville to start getting profitable, right?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about, once you guys started, what was that experience like? What was it? How did you, even though you weren't technically in a leadership position, what was your mindset as one of the core group of agents? You were an investor as well in that office?
No.
Okay.
I missed the investment opportunity.
Okay. Yeah.
I waited. I was done. But it was just one of those things where Bob and Kay will tell you this too. They've always said I was the reason why they're here. And I just connected the right people.
That's great.
And all that. And I'd been in leadership for about 5 years, and I was just ready because I was blending a family of 6 kids. I didn't have time for anything else. So I just want to focus on building a business and take care of my family. And but in the process, they'll tell you I was kind of like the icon agent. So even though I wasn't a team leader, I was involved with leadership all the time. I was that go-to guy they'd come to. I taught a lot of classes, and to my mind, I'm protecting the company, which is my future.
Yeah.
That was a profit share. And so it started that way, but it took us, I remember our first profit share check that we got was 8 months. And my check was $75.
Amazing.
And then in 2 months, it was $6. And then we started in August of 2002. So that's when the big reset was.
Yeah.
And that was my first check of $1,000. And I cried like a baby. I thought,
wow,
God, this thing works,
Yeah. And Joey, you've made almost 800,000 lifetime, right? And you were telling me that you have 29 people, you said, on your first level. Is that correct?
I have 28. I went back to look to see how many people I had sponsored since I've been here.
Yeah.
I think this is a big aha too. I had sponsored about 160 people. Since I've gotten here, but 28 still active.
How many of those are relationship versus? And look, people don't know that you can teach an old dog new tricks, right?
You can,
right, Joey, because you were. I mean, this must have been, I don't know, 8-10 years ago. You and I started interacting, and you were like, "Hey, even though I built my profit share through relationships," you were very excited and interested in figuring out ways of supplementing your natural attraction. So you got involved in internet recruiting, and so how many of those 160 were internet leads, internet recruits, and predominantly brand new agents, and how many of them were relationship agents, and what percentage of them are still here versus like how many of the relationship experienced agents versus the internet leads are still with KW?
I had more relationship than I had internet. You remember during the time I was a team leader down at Spring Hill, just became full-time team leader.
Of course.
So that I started with you, but I just didn't have the time. I had to focus on the market.
Remember,
and so we built it that way. But I would say they're all relationship built.
Most of the internet leads fell away, right?
I didn't have the time to focus.
Did some of them stick, though? A couple of them stick?
Yes, we had 3 that actually came. And what was funny is that they came through other people that was in the market center, and I didn't say a word. I'm letting go.
Yeah. But even though you dabble, I mean, look, obviously you built the majority of your profit shares coming from your relationships and attracting existing agents to KW. But the lesson here is, one, first of all, some people are, I hear people all the time say, well, there's only so many people on my board, right? There's only No, you were like, hey, look, you realize that the opportunity is so much bigger than
it is.
Right?
I did a lot of that that's in my business. I had a big database, but I bought a lot of leads also.
Yeah.
We had a high conversion rate. I have to tell you this. Kathy Stinson, you know Kathy, right?
Of course.
My blood Kathy.
He's great.
She work in your system, right? She's working 85 people right now.
Is she really? She's doing it. Yeah.
She's got 3 sign up with a case score.
I love that.
Already. So she's really getting after it.
Well, and Joey, I want to make a point here for people, and I've been saying this a lot lately. I mean, look, we know that internet recruiting is, it's going to always be the low hanging fruit, right? I mean, experienced agents are not joining KW through job ads, okay? Right? They're coming here through relationships. But what I want people to really think about, Joey, and I want your insight on this too, is that, because you and I coached, man, we talked years ago, right? And I remember, my sort of mantra or template for a lot of my calls was there was a quote from Gary Keller, right? And Gary said back then, he said, look, interdependence, which is Keller Williams, right, is only a decision independent agents can make, right? And so you can't go from dependent to interdependent without going through independent first, right? So basically back in the day, Joey, if a recruit wasn't ready to generate their own business, they probably were not going to be a fit for KW, right? Because look, we didn't have a lot of teams. We weren't generating leads, right? We were teaching agents how to fish, correct? Yeah.
And if you take 20 years ago, my profit share came from this office.
Yeah.
But I'd only sponsored 3 people in 2 years.
Exactly.
Everybody else was recruiting the people over, which was a blessing.
Absolutely.
And then I've sponsored some investors in other market centers. That was relational.
I love that.
And then when I went to Spring Hill, it was new people, online leads, basically, but it was that was more there than it was here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the point I was just trying to make here, as far as just about doing internet recruiting, Joey, is that one, are you still doing it right now, or are you back into and just focusing on leadership and loving on your agents? Are you dabbling?
I'm loving on my agents, focused on leadership right now. Yeah.
So for the people that are doing internet recruiting or going after new agents and doing career nights, here's the message I have for you. One, the new agent talent pool's never been better. Joey, I don't know what you're seeing right now post-pandemic, but what we're seeing is some amazing talent coming into real estate after the pandemic. Are you seeing that locally at all?
Absolutely, young man. We, on our career nights, we average 20 to 35 people every career night we have. And we've got a lot of great talent coming through the portal. And I'm not afraid of my new people, because we have to have the infrastructure to get them involved, and then you don't know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
And we look for people that wants to be in, they want to play, and that's the ones that will play ball with.
Totally.
20-25%, if you get that return, you're doing pretty good.
Absolutely. And look, it's a numbers game, man. Right. I mean, it's a numbers game. And look, we do the best we can to, express what our value proposition is to a new agent. Right. We give them everything they need to be successful, but we can't want it for them more than they do. Right. So, I mean, like if you haven't read the MREA book, if you don't come into the office for training, if you don't time block for lead gen, what are we going to do about that? Right.
Well, and we got to realize that they're still independent contractors.
Yeah, exactly.
Our job is to help them become business owners.
Right. Exactly. Right. So I wanted just to put a bow on what I was saying about internet recruiting, Joey, is that not only is the new agent talent pool better than it's ever been, I think, now we are offering dependent opportunities to agents, right? We have more teams than we've ever had. We are launching Team Ridge. Hopefully market centers are leaning into the Team Ridge model and starting to generate leads. So I want people to understand that if a new agent is not ready to be a business owner yet, they're still a fit for KW, because we have so many more opportunities today for new agents and dependent agents than we did 20 years ago. And one of the reasons, Joey, a lot of my newer agents that I sponsored back in 05 and 2010 are no longer with KW is that they weren't ready to be independent in the first place. And we weren't offering really any kind of dependent opportunities. And so what people, and just to add to that, Joey, we're a technology company. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
New agents coming off the internet, they tend to be younger. They tend to be more tech savvy. And look, I know that, I wish that I had sponsored 400 mega agents to KW, okay, versus 400 new agents. But, you get a young gun, 22-year-old tech savvy, business minded agent to KW today, and they embrace our technology and our training. I mean, how many years will they cap at KW? How many people will they attract in their 40-year career at KW? So look, if you don't feel comfortable going after experienced agents, or you don't have a lot of relationships in your market, then go out and find some new agents or people in your real estate database that are thinking about being real estate agents, because you never know who they might become at KW. Correct?
Correct. And I will say this too, and I'll tell everybody this. Same concept that we just talked about, but let's go a little deeper.
Yeah.
If you're going to draw people to this company, then you need to know what the company does for you and get into it. Yeah. When I first got here, I went crazy on KW Connect.
Yep.
I was like a kid in a candy store. Couldn't believe that I didn't have to pay for this education. And I made it purposely. I want to be different. And this is good. You're going to laugh when I tell you this, but like in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is a pretty big company. They're pretty solid. And, and like $15, for whatever, well, back then it was top producer, but that's how far back I go.
Yeah.
But then everything was at my fingertips, and it was amazing how the transformation started mentally for me, from my mindset, away from how I was trained as a traditional agent, that when I would go to closings and stuff, or things would happen. Now, back then we'd go to the closing table together. We don't do that now, but they start talking about something, and I said, well, can I give you this? What is this? I might give an MRA book, or I said, have you ever thought about this? And I want to be there to help them. You know what I'm saying? But that was the one thing that I still go back to the Sunday school teacher. It's the relationships were more important to me. If I helped you sell a house and you were a competitor, I made the industry better. I just made it better. But then I've formed a relationship, and I just tell people, I said, of all the times that you need to know what we offer, it's today. I mean, with Command and all the training, all the playbooks my goodness, it's wonderful that we have all this accessibility to show our value.
Absolutely.
That I know is not out on the street. It's only in here.
And it's never been more available, right, to leverage. But the thing that stuck out with what you just said, Joey, is what I always say in my class, which is, if you want to be able to talk the talk, you got to walk the walk. Okay. Yes. And walking the walk is not just being a top agent. Okay. Now, look, you can have a lot of success, being purposeful about profit share and just saying, hey, I love KW. You can have a team leader call you. Right. But if you don't participate in culture, right, if you're not teaching classes, sharing your ideas, seeking out knowledge outside of your market center and referrals, if you don't participate in Red Day, donate to KW Cares, if you're not helping us evolve our tech, right, and you're not purposeful about growing the company, I just don't think you can have an authentic conversation with someone about KW. Doesn't mean you can't have success, okay? But I and you and I are very similar, Joey. Like we're non-BS people. Like if you and I didn't believe in KW, I have no doubt you would not be participating in profit share or or even still be here. So I just want people to understand that, like, if you don't seek out that stuff, first of all, why are you here? Number one, seriously, tap into all these things that KW has to offer. KW Connect is off the charts these days. The amount of content on there, right? But how can you speak to that? How can you talk about culture? How can you talk about our tech platform if all you do is buy leads from Zillow, right? And
one of the things that I learned at the beginning when we started the company, we were crazy. Okay, you talking about drinking the Kool-Aid? It was we had it intravenously. We were just sell, and we burnt the fields a couple of times. And we had to regroup. And I think Bob came up and was giving us some good direction. And and we were talking the other day. I said, of all things, realtors hate to be sold anything.
Yeah,
They already got the BS factor out there. Like
exactly.
they're testing everybody. And so, as I tell my people, I have since I've been back here, quit selling the company.
Yeah.
You be the company.
Yeah.
You get into what we do, let it come out of your pores. Like, be the culture, be that person that does the right thing.
Exactly.
And I said, it'll come back and it'll play big dividends for you.
Absolutely.
Because our business, it's, there's a lot of distrust in our industry. It's just part of it. It's just
Absolutely.
a hard industry.
Well, and people know, I mean, look, they know, they can smell a Keller Williams recruiting conversation coming a mile away, right? Because they know, right? They know that KW agents who are purposeful about it are going to, at some point,
right,
have a conversation with them. And obviously coming, look, it's the same thing with being a great real estate agent, Joey, right?
Yeah.
If you're driven by selling houses, right?
Exactly.
People can smell that. We say that you got commission breath, right?
Right.
So, if all you care about is recruiting and building your profit share, you'll have profit share breath, right? But if you can be an agent that other agents respect, come from contribution, and by the way, handing every co-broke agent an MREA book or a shift book as a closing gift with a little note like, hey, check out page this section. I think you'll really get a lot out of it. That's how you start to take mind share. That's how you get ability. That's how you become authentic. And look, Joey, when we just come from contribution and we expose agents at other companies to our abundant training and culture, they will self-discover, right, as well, that there's something different going on in KW. So what was going back to when you were an agent, okay, what was the moment where you said, you know what, I'm ready to take on a leadership position, a true leadership position in KW? How did that manifest itself?
It actually came through the last shift. Look, everybody took it in the shorts. I took it pretty big, and I had to rebuild it. You know what I mean? I mean, just it happened.
Yeah.
And then I was approached by Lee Gillick that spring. She called Bill.
Yeah.
And we started the conversation. And I'd been in sales management, leadership management for years.
Yeah.
And I was in my mid-50s, and I was ready for a change.
Yeah.
I was tired, burnt out, but had a lot of lessons learned. And that's when that door opened, and I walked through it. And I left my market. I left I never left Clarksville except one time when I was in college, and I went way far away.
Yeah.
I went to Nashville, Tennessee. So I went to Belmont, and so it was like a big deal. So me pulling up at that age, and I had, my children here, was a big deal, but I knew it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It was time for me to go on in my leadership, or just in my business opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's when I started doing that.
Well, and also, let's get real. I mean, my guess is you got to spend more time with your family, right? As you, instead of being out there selling houses. And you made me think of another thing, Joey. I always tell people that, people's whys change, right? Yeah. So you might have had a conversation with an agent, 5 years ago, where they said, look, I'm not interested in KW. I'm happy where I'm at. But you know what? My guess is post-pandemic, pre or presently in a shift in an industry that seems to be under assault from literally every angle. I bet you a lot of people's whys have changed quite a bit. And so, look, I built my class in the last shift. Okay. My why changed quite a bit, and so I just want people to understand, sometimes you've talked to people, and look, the same thing goes for home buyers and sellers, right? I mean, some people's whys change, they get divorced, right? Things happen, right? Same thing happens in real estate. Just because you talk to somebody or you got blown off a couple of years ago doesn't mean that person is thinking the same way today. And Joey, as a team leader, are you not seeing that in your appointments? Talk about a little bit about how you're seeing the shift and how that's forcing agents to really look at their businesses more as business owners and be more open to a better place to be an agent versus when the market's up and you just stick a sign in the yard and it sells. Are you seeing that people's whys change, their pain getting stronger in this shift and being more open to other opportunities?
Yeah, we just came out of a market that we've never seen before in history.
Yeah.
wasn't sustainable. Boy, it was nice to a lot of people, but I remember talking to some folks saying, Joey, I'm making all this money, but I'm miserable. I can't spend it. I don't have time. And we went through that season, and then there's a lull, then a shift. And now I've got what I'm seeing now is that I had a pretty hard time talking to seasoned agents here when I came back. And most of them I grew up with, in the business, and they just, no, not.
Yeah.
And so, and then when the market shifted, I'm getting more agent referrals now than I've got since I've been here.
Yeah.
I mean, really from other company referrals, not just, I get a lot for new agents and stuff, which is normal. And I'm used to that, but I'm seeing more. This past month, we've had what I call 3 solid R1s that were 8 units or less a year closed. And they're lining up people behind them to come talk to me, which is, again, we grow. This is where we grow. Yeah. We have answers. And, this is where we're going to grow again. And I want to say this too, that there's a lot of companies out there that mimic what we do in certain areas. And I tell people you can go do a cheaper cap, which is fine. I get that. And I wish you the best, but how are they going to help you make money? They're going to lower your cost, but how are they going to build your business? And I think that's the story I'm seeing now is that I've had a couple left a couple years ago, and we're talking again because they said, I keep hearing what you're saying. I'm not paying as much, but I have no help from above or help me to build a business. And now I understand what you mean. And that the staff we have here was like family. I don't have that here. And so again, we're going back. Most people want to be, in a team environment. They just do. Yeah. They just do. I remember Gary, he broke this out a long time ago where, maybe 10% of the realtor population, 15% would be in a 100% company. But the majority of it's in the middle, which with the interdependent part.
Yeah. And let's get real. If price is really your focus, can you be making more than 100% of your commission and building a retirement plan? I mean, if you want to really have the price conversation, we can have that conversation, Joey, right?
I'm so glad you said that, sir.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things as a team leader, because, I've had failure and success. When I was at my peak was 2007. We did about 20 million a year, over 100 units closed a year, kind of deal. And then in profit share, my 3rd year here is when I got the recognition of being in the 100% plus club.
Yes, sir.
And that was sweet. And so when I went to Spring Hill, about my 3rd year there, I saw a shift in my profit share. Mm-hmm. I had people all the way through all 7 levels, but that 3rd year there, my levels 5, 6, and 7 exploded.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, profit share took a hockey stick and a leap up.
Yeah.
And I started telling people, I said, how would you like to work somewhere where I pay you to come to work and you make more than 100% commission?
Absolutely. Mark King says that's his mission, right? Mark King's mission is to help agents do what they love to do for free, right?
Yes.
Literally, right? And I got to tell you, I travel all around the company, and I know, look, the industry is being compressed, right? We have all new flashy objects. Owners are also feeling the burn too, because caps are being reduced and things like that. And, just because we lower our caps doesn't mean price is our value. We just have to be competitive. But the fact is that I forgot where I was going, but the point is that, as we if you're in a market center that has lowered your cap, right? Be grateful for that, but also understand as a stakeholder, you better add more agents to that market center if you want that to be sustainable. Okay. And if you ever want to earn profit share, you can't be like, hey, let's lower our cap, and then not on the other side be willing to grow the company to help offset that. Right. And I think people need to understand one of the reasons some of these policies have been passed by the ILC is that we have owners that are doing everything right, and they're not making a lot of money, or they're losing money because they had to reduce their caps or whatever. And so I want our stakeholder agents to understand that if we are going to continue to be competitive from a price standpoint, okay, and it's all about how you look at that. I think we're competitive right now, whether we change our caps or not. But if you're in a market center that's going to lower its cap, well, then you better grow that market center if you want to keep that cap, because a $10,000 cap in this market is not going to create any profit share if you don't grow your market center, right?
That's correct.
All right. So how many of these appointments that you're getting, Joey, are coming from your agents? I mean, do you do a lot of cold calling, or do you rely on your agents for the referrals?
Most of through my agents, and I go to a lot of events. I know a lot of people, you know, and stuff. And mainly my calling is my agents to ask how can I help them. Yeah. Because I like, I go back to selling real estate. And when I get that warm referral, I don't have to do anything but go to work. They already trust me. Yeah. And so I lean heavily on that. And we've been very blessed the last 2 years with profit share and stuff as a company. Yeah. We've done very well with that. But to me, it doesn't matter about that because, I think we have 35% of our agents has a tree. That's amazing. Okay? That's high. So my goal is to get us to 50%. That's my goal. Yeah. Yeah. That was actually my goal on my 135 that I presented to KWRI is that, I'm like, look, imagine what Keller Williams could look like, Joey. Right. Seriously. Right. The majority of our agents were participating in profit share. I mean, what do you think this company could look like from a cultural standpoint, a growth standpoint, a retention standpoint, if the majority of our agents are participating in profit share? And I think, we got to be, I get it. It's all about recruit, gross recruiting. But I think we should be a little bit more concerned about the people we're already in business with. Yes. Because what are we building this company? Look, 35%, Joey, that's high. I will tell you right now, I think less than 30% of our agents company-wide even participate in profit share. And what we also know, Joey, is the 80-20 rule always applies. So that means of the less than 30% of KW agents that are even participating in profit share, 20% of them are earning 80% of the profit share. So, Joey, less than 6% of KW agents are earning 80% of our profit share. And so that's what gets me really excited. I know you feel the same way. It's like, man, there's so much room for improvement. There is. Our own company. And look, if we were to keep gross recruiting, but get our existing agents more purposeful about profit share, I mean, the sky's the limit here, right, for KW? Yeah, right now I see this opportunity for to be able to bring over seasoned agents that I ever have. Yeah. It's because they don't have, they need something and they're not getting it. And so even their brokers are silent. They don't know what to say. Yeah. And, and we just go back to mechanics. And so I know that for me, when I look at new people, here's how I look at new people. Okay. That's our future. Like I taught, this is my freshman class. Yeah. I love that. Next month, there'll be my sophomore class, but then that I'm always building the class group, and we work really hard on keeping them as groups, where they can build relationships. I love that. It's just what does Mo say, Joey? If you want to build a big church, build a bunch of small churches, right? Exactly right. There's a reason we got all these communities, right? Yeah. I mean, so you can small groups. Well, you can do that within the market center too. Yes, right? Yeah, you do. Yeah, and it's hard to do, but it's really uncanny. But like I said, this is my third shift or my second shift. Yeah. Big shift. But it's like all of a sudden when things get quiet or things are not the same, they come in looking for answers, which is relational. And, I got a tissue box. Yeah. Yeah. They call me a therapist most of the time, but, we just kind of go through it, but we lock arms. Say, look, just keep doing what you're doing. It will pay off because one thing I can tell you, if you do the model as we teach, the results will show. You just got to give it time. Well, and Joey, I mean, look, the
the two words that are coming out of my class these days are purpose and community. Okay. And, I remember the day, and I talked about this when I interviewed Sean Rawls, I was bawling my eyes out in Sean Rawls's office,
Yeah.
I don't know how many years ago, 15 years, 16 years ago. And he literally was like, I mean, the fact that I, as a male, okay, and I'm not the most, the most masculine male in the world, okay. I got a little ponytail, I got two cats, okay. I mean, I'm a little bit of a softie, but to go into my OP's office and bawl my eyes out as a mid-30s, agent, right? That's not about me. That's a testament to Sean Rawls, okay, and how he was the kind of person that you felt like you could go to and kind of dump on. And Joey, I know you're the same way, man. I know your agents in Spring Hill or Clarksville, man, they love you because you're so freaking consistent and authentic, right? Like you just show up, dude, and you're the same guy every day. It doesn't matter how much money you're making, how big your profit share checks are. You are the same guy every day. And having that consistency and that vulnerability, right? Because you are a vulnerable guy as well.
Yeah.
That in times like these, agents, that's what they want. And I find it interesting. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this, Joey, is that I'm finding that when a lot of market centers, what they're telling me is the challenge is to get agents to come back into the office after the pandemic, right? And I just don't get that, to be honest with you. Maybe people just got lazy and they just love the idea of being at home more. But I'm sorry, when this pandemic was over, I was racing into the office. I was racing to teach in person because that's what drives me, man. It's connection, purpose, community. And so are you seeing that in your market center? And if you're seeing that, how are you getting agents to come in more when they have kind of post-pandemic feel like they want to just continue to have a virtual experience with KW?
We started dealing with this about a year ago.
Yeah.
Just to get a jump start on it. And we're doing pretty good considering, with our team meetings, we're averaging 40 to 50 people per team meeting.
Oh, that's great.
Which is great for us. But it took some time. But what we did is that during that season, we just shut off virtual completely.
Yeah.
You got to come to the office. And I said, look, we got to build relationships again. And then now we're thinking about doing some, bringing some back for people, second career folks. We got a lot of second career people in the business. And so we're always listening to the agent and really feeling the temperature of the moment.
Of course.
And make sure we're staying on top of things. And it's always a moving target. It's like herding cats. You know the deal.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. And so we've been pretty fortunate right now. But we're not great, but we're at least, when I first got here, barely 10 people would show up.
Yeah.
But I also think that and I'm going to say this, but I say this with respect, but I feel like that when COVID hit, it changed everybody. I mean, we were in a place nobody knew.
Yeah.
And then when the people got on the outside and lost disconnect, it wasn't strong enough before.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They didn't trust it anymore.
No, that's great. It's a great point. And look, let's get real. Gary says it all the time, right? We have to continue to transform into a digitally based, physically enhanced company.
Exactly.
Right? So obviously the pandemic has accelerated our virtual digital footprint. I don't think we'll ever go back to the way it was. Okay. But the point I want people to understand is that, and you make a great point here, Joey, and I say this all the time in my class, is that you have got to build a market center that compels people to come in, right? Because there's always top agents willing to teach classes. There's always an overflowing training calendar. There's a sense of community there. But obviously, Joey, it starts by getting your top agents and your core agents and your ALC agents to buy into it, right?
Absolutely.
Because if they're not in on that, if they're not going to be teaching, if they're not going to be helping people, then people are not going to see the value in coming in. But at a time, Joey, when purpose and community seem to be what's driving KW right now in this shift, and obviously technology, and we were being sort of assaulted by these virtual revenue sharing companies that are claiming to be KW, but just a better version, right? Like, how can they compete seriously in this moment with us if we are delivering on purpose and community, and we're building market centers where people feel this sense of community, where they want to come in? Like, how can a virtual or somebody that values those things, why would they ever leave KW or go to a virtual revenue sharing company if that's what they value? And so I think it's important for people to understand we don't need to be in business with everybody. Okay, we're built that way. But what we have to do is be in business with the agents that value what we value. But we have to be able to deliver on that stuff, because culture, that's just a word, Joey, right? If you don't show up every day, man, if your agents don't trust you, if they don't, get it, they're not going to buy into it, right?
No, they're not. And honestly, Bud, when you look at the big picture here, it's and you said it, a team leader, I'm in a glass house. No matter how you look at it, it's if I don't affect people to really understand what this is like, I failed. I failed, right?
Exactly.
Because agents follow agents. It's just like I tell people buy houses from people. They don't buy it from companies.
Yep.
Agents pick company because that's the car they're going to drive to get their business accomplished, right? That's what they feel. When our people start really fleshing it out, I call it the magic. That's when the magic happens. Yeah. I've seen it, when all this stuff, agents start coming together, and it's just, you can't beat that.
And Joey, it's the same thing about an agent who is loving on his or her real estate database, right?
Yeah, right.
An agent that, a buyer or seller in your database that you have a strong relationship with, that knows that you care about what's best for them than the transaction. My guess is going to be less likely to leave you for a better price offer, right? Because they understand that it's not just about the price, it's about the transaction and being taken care of and advised. The same thing with real estate. Look, and there's a great saying I heard once, Joey, and it says people leave KW for the same reason they join, right? So if they join for culture, which a lot of us do, and you're not delivering on that,
right?
Well, then that's why they're going to leave. And with the flip side of that, if you make price your value proposition as a market center, because you're not delivering on the culture and the value and the models and the systems, my guess is there's going to be a better price offer that comes along someday that's going to take them away, right?
Absolutely. All day long.
Yeah. So Joey, we're kind of coming to the end of this, but I want you to kind of talk about, you got people that are listening to you today that are going to want to get purposeful about building their profit share, and hopefully they've gotten some inspiration and some nuggets out of this conversation. But what would you tell somebody that today has not had any success with recruiting? I know we've kind of talked a little bit about this, but what would be your sort of parting words for somebody that says, look, I want to get purposeful, Joey? One of your own agents comes to you and says, look, I want to get purposeful about profit share. I don't know where to start. What do you tell them to do?
I tell them, I say, okay, look, what is your purpose, period? What are you doing for you?
Yeah.
There's a man I used to work for, and he came from Franklin, Kentucky. His dad was a farmer.
Yeah.
And I worked for him when I was a new car sales manager for the Nissan dealership, and we go way back. Our families go way back. And I asked him, I said, Mr. Matthews, can you tell me one thing that you can contribute to your success? He thought for a minute. He said, damn. He said, Joel, that's hard. He said, I know a lot of things. He said, but you want one thing. And this is before I knew about the one thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And so he said, I'm going to tell you what my dad told me before I left. He said, son, he said, don't forget this. When you're green, you grow. But when you're ripe, you rot. Always be a student of life, of what you do. If you want to be a great profit share agent, then be a student of Keller Williams.
Yeah.
Understand what is the value that we bring that wants people to come up, makes them want to come over.
Exactly.
Right? And it's just that simple. But at the end of the day, it's not about the profit share or this, it's about you.
Yeah.
And I believe this, if you really get into detail of what we teach, understand the models, because it happened to me personally. And that's why I'm passionate about it, because when it changed me, I didn't realize I was exuding this on the outside because it was coming from within.
Exactly.
And it drew people to me. So, you know, the old country saying is that don't know it all, be hungry and be humble.
Yeah.
And build it, and they will come. They just
that.
will, but you got to do it yourself for you.
Well, and to bring this full circle, okay, quote the great Kay Evans, right, who said, what is your attractor factor, right? Which I love, right? Like, what is it about the way you do business, the way that you treat people, the way that you come from contribution? What is it? What are you going to do that naturally attracts people to you, whether it be real estate, whether it be profit share? And, you know, I would say it a little bit differently, walk the walk before you talk the talk.
Yep.
All right. But Joey, I know, you know, and I can say this because I've known you for a long time. If one of our associates has a recruiting lead in Clarksville, Tennessee, okay, and they are hoping that they are going to refer them to a team leader that's going to close them. I think it's
stop right there. Stop. Yeah. I got their back.
Okay.
No questions about it.
Exactly.
They'll get it.
Right. Now we agree pulling the name pulling a resume off of Indeed and throwing it at Joey without putting a little effort into it. That might not go down quite the same way. But look, you've done internet recruiting. You know that you got to build, or even though you don't have a relationship, you got to earn it. You got to provide value.
Yes.
And though you have a relationship, doesn't mean you are guaranteed sponsorship either. Right. So one, we want to agree that secure the appointment. Right. I mean, I don't know how many people, Joey, you ever heard of these people that just tell their recruits to go talk to a Keller Williams Market Center on their own?
I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Would you let one of your buyers go talk to a builder on their own? Probably not. So we agree this is business. So you got to be the referral agent of record, right? So make sure you're connecting them to a market center, but also realize that your relationship with the leadership team and how they perceive your role in the process is going to play into how much they want to support you, right? And look, I just want people to understand that, you know, Joey Haley is not only a top profit share earner in KW, he's one of the most culture-driven, high-integrity guys in KW. So if you're looking for an easy slam dunk to grow your profit share in a very profitable market center at KW, you might want to focus your lasers on Clarksville, Tennessee, because you got a guy there that's going to close those referrals for you and make sure that the agents that you attract to that office are going to be as successful as they possibly can.
Yes,
Joey, I can't thank you enough, brother. You know, you and I go way back. We value the same things at KW. Can't wait to come to Clarksville in a couple of weeks in December to teach my class. But appreciate your time today, Joey. And
appreciate you a lot.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you for what you're doing for us. We appreciate you.
Hey, man, I'm just taking ownership of this real estate company. They got a huge financial stake in it, and I wish more of our associates would do the same. All right?
We'll get them there.
Yeah, we will. Thanks, brother. All right. Take care, man.
All right.